Hello everyone, welcome to Ankara, Turkey on the final day of competition, a special day here in Ankara. It's a national celebration day, more on that a little bit later. I'm Ted Barton along with Mark Hanratty, who'll be joining us from a studio in Nottingham. The final event of the day is the free dance, and as predicted, Pegana and Kobel of Ukraine are in top spot with a very strong rhythm dance and have a comfortable 5-point lead. After that, we predicted, well, we didn't really know. North American teams, Americans, Canadians, where would it end up? Well, Canadian team is in second and a French team is in third, but it's also very close. A special note though, the team from Turkey, Yürsel and Pak, find themselves in sixth on this special national celebration day. 17 teams from 13 nations, they take to the ice, and it all starts right now. Hello everyone, welcome to Ankara, Turkey. The final day of competition, the final event. We were just treated to a band, marching band coming in this facility on this celebration day as we drone in to the arena and has hosted this brilliant competition here, not only this year, but last year as well. The free dance is coming up. I'm Ted Barton along with Mark Hanratty joining us from the studio in Nottingham as we take a look at the panel and the technical panel as well. Mark, welcome back. Final event on week number 2.
Yeah, and it really has been a fantastic competition, and we've known from what has taken place in Junior Grand Prix events in Turkey over the last few years that it would be treated, but it has absolutely lived up to past expectation and probably superseded it with what's taking place today, I suspect.
Yeah, and I would say, it sort of collided together, this, national celebration with the energy in the building and in the organization about the sport of figure skating, and we've talked about that all week long. And it's not just to promote them, it's to tell you the truth, that the energy of this sport has been infectious and it's filling the rinks, and that's very, very cool. And we've had some good results here by the skaters from Turkey as well.
And now we look ahead to the free dance, the last event of the day, and we will be starting in a seeded order, so those that were the lowest ranked competitors after the rhythm dance. And in the free dance for juniors, they have various different required elements. So look out for, they have the options of to do 2 short lifts or 1 combination lift. Then there'll be a dance spin, which is pretty easy to spot. Then we can have the synchronized twizzles. They also fairly recognizable. Separated from the rest, from the technical panels, look to see who have the cleanest and clearest of edges. As we look to the Ukrainian team, Tatiana and Ivan, who will be a little bit disappointed to find themselves in this opening group, but hopefully they'll have some redemption and more favoured reviews from the technical panel in their free dance to come.
Well, much coming up over the next few hours, and Mark, you'll be joining us. Let's just review that. Both Mark and myself will be at Varese next weekend in Italy. I will move on to Bangkok. Mark will work from home. And then we will both meet in Beijing for the coverage of the Olympic qualifying event. And we're excited to be able to do that for the ISU. And that's going to be a lot of fun, Mark. I know you're looking forward to go to Beijing. You haven't been there before. I will then move on to Baku. Mark will work from home, and then we will both be at the last 2 Junior Grand Prix in Gdansk and Abu Dhabi. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just sharing the excitement, and it's such an exciting season. And I think I remember joining you on the Junior Grand Prix, Ted, I think in 2022-2023 season. So at the beginning of this Olympic cycle, I joined you in the Junior Grand Prix, and as I said yesterday, I find the beginning of an Olympic cycle exciting because there are skaters that we covered together back in 2022 who have now secured spots to compete at the Olympics in February next year, and that's super exciting. But also, as is this, any season. Well, hey, any season of figure skating is exciting when the sport's as good as our sport.
And I was thinking about looking at the roster of the Olympic qualifying event in Beijing. All those skaters we've covered, and certainly I've covered, most of them, for all the years we've been doing junior, but I think both you and I have covered all of them. So that brings a little bit more insight and interest on our part. So really looking forward to Beijing and the rest of the Junior Grand Prix, sort of 8 weeks of exciting coverage, at least for us anyways. We enjoy doing it. Yeah, it's great. So, Mark, any other questions that have come in?
No, I have. I think it's important to note that the ICU do such a magnificent job on their social media and creating this live stream, but I think we are alone a little bit today. So if anybody does want to send in any questions, please feel free to do so to our own respective social media, and we'd be delighted to join the discussion. There is one question that I remember being sent through from the ISU from yesterday's broadcast, and the question was, how best can you recover from injury? And the skater said they had a broken foot. And I don't know about you, Ted, but I, like most skaters, had injuries throughout my competitive career. And sometimes I found, well, in advance of an injury, I quite often found that if I was overloaded and overstressed and I was trying to juggle too much or trying to work too hard, sometimes my body held the score and an injury happened when retrospectively I recognized it was on its way. It was almost an inevitability because I was doing too much. So that's one thing that I would just be mindful of for skaters that aren't yet injured. Just be ensuring that you're taking care of your body and listening to it for preservation.
Yeah.
And then in regards to... We'll go on, Ted, sorry.
No, and yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I mean, for young people, that's hard because they think they're invincible. I'm not saying that in a rude way, but you feel that you are because you're young, you have this energy to keep going, and then the injury, and you're not used to it, stops you. So you can prevent those injuries, but exactly what you were saying, Mark, is listening to your body and making sure that you're not overworked, both either physically or psychologically. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, and then in terms of the recovery time from injuries, there are so many athletes that we've seen who have been injured and then they make the potential, retrospectively premature return to training, and then we find that they continue to be suffering and coping with injuries. In an ideal world, the skater will get the resources to fully recover and come back stronger. And to me, how quickly can you make this happen? The more that the skater can do the rehab work, the better. And what my experiences are is that rehab work can be boring compared to the amazing excitement of ice skating.
Yep.
But digging down and doing that relatively boring work is what's going to give you the longevity of, the speed of return and the longevity of safety.
And there is our non-official medical advice. Refer to your doctor for any further advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. The beginning of the free dance event representing Bulgaria, Elena Dimitrova and Alexei Ryabetsev. And this is their first Junior Grand Prix event together.
And Elena and Alexei showcasing, as we expect to see throughout the event, a complete contrast to that which they performed in the rhythm dance. Elena Dimitrova and Alexei Ryabtsev representing Bulgaria. And to me, Ted, I suppose, again, this is where I feel passionately kind of defensive over what's just taken place, because there are lots of things that are admirable, and you can just see Elena just trying to cajole Alexei. He is a very strong skater, just as we saw with the rhythm dance, they have not had the repetition. And you can see, I don't know the backstory, I don't know how long the couple have been together necessarily, but you do sense that they're still very new to one another and to these pieces. Here you can see the speed of the rotation lift, just amazing. And that's where I was, aware there were so many positives. Here we can see the 1 foot turn, so working through a forward rocker there. This is a bracket turn, and then their fourth was the twizzle. It's a free rein for the teams as to which combination of turns they use, but they must deliver rocker, counter, bracket, and twizzle. Here we look through the twizzle sequence, and both really struggling with that, and that an unfortunate kind of reflection of where they're at individually, I suppose, even though I can see there are still so many strengths, and it felt like not united.
Yeah, the team is has not skated long enough together to just automatically know where you are. It's sort of like, when you're in a new house, forget, where are the stairs, where are this, you're just a little bit disjointed for a while before you get used to it. And so in this case, they might be strong individual skaters. As a team, they're still very new, and you can see that newness in not knowing where each other are all the time. But that's okay. That will get much better in time and more practice.
Yeah, just, now for me with this team, if we're thinking about the future and moving forward, just having a structured training plan so that they can find time, if possible, without knowing what ice they have available to them, to do the basic skills work, and then to do, a certain amount of repetitions of each section of this free dance, so that they can just continually get more and more into a bit of an automatic pilot with the steps, to be able to then transcend thinking about, what's the hold, what's the steps, where am I in relation to each other, and then to think more about the quality, not what they're doing, but how they are doing it.
Yeah, it's a long, long process, and we talked about this earlier. Pending the amount of facility time on ice and off ice that you have, will speed up or be slower in your development. So, those skaters that, it's terrible to say to be obsessed with, because I don't mean that in a negative way, but spending a lot of time in studying the sport yourself to know what it is you want to do, want to be, and then putting an action plan together both off the ice and on the ice. And that gets time consuming and complicated. And, moving from year to year, you'll get better. 40.03, the free dance score. They are the first team out in the event with a total competition score of 69.44. There are the hands of our next team, representing Ukraine. 14-year-old Tatiana Bilolanova and 18-year-old Ivan Kochur. First Junior Grand Prix season, second event.
And this team, perhaps a little unfortunate with the calls that they had in the rhythm dance. Last week when they competed in Riga, they had more success in that portion of the competition than their free dance. Hopefully turning that around here with a strong free dance to the music Survivor. Tatiana Bieladonova and Ivan Kucher from Ukraine, survivor of the music. And chatting to the couple last week, I was just asking how it was for them to be training. They train in Odessa, and their bravery, courage and maturity and how they answered that was just amazing. So my respect for these two young people just heightened ever more as we see their flag waved in the audience. This back-to-back performance, it will be interesting to make the comparison with last week's skate. I actually think this was comparable to last week's performance for the couple when they competed in the Riga in Latvia. They had a 75.48 there. But in the rhythm dance yesterday, we saw that the technical panel here were a little bit more strict in what they needed to give the higher levels, and that could impact upon the score again here compared to week on week. There you see allowed to connect and touch between the first and second twizzles in the free dance. That's not allowed in the rhythm dance. And managing to get closer by the Group C, the third twizzle feature. Just maybe play with the free leg position there for Tatiana in the straight line left, and this the dance spin with a middle feature. Get a level now for not just entry and exit, but also transitional content between the first and second part of the spin as we look at their choreographic character step sequence. And this, I believe, was better than last week, tighter. Well, the opening here where they were on their knees, and that is allowed within this element. The couple can touch the ice within the choreographic character step sequence, but they had a little bit of a debatable slide within that as you see the closing stages.
Well, they had a 75.48, I believe, last week.
Yeah. It just.
Was it last week? Well, that's a higher score
Yeah.
than I've got here. Okay, it was last week. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'll reach that here again. It's very consistent within the events, as Mark had mentioned, but it can be a little bit different from event to event. And a lot got to do with where the panel is positioned and what they see. 67.34. That's first in the free dance so far in the event. They were hoping for a higher score, but with a 107.64 total competition score. And they take over the lead early on in the competition. Our next team represents France, 15-year-old Louise Cohas-Boget and 17-year-old Danielle Grishin. Second Junior Grand Prix season.
This team struggled at a fall. One of many teams that had mistakes in the rhythm dance. Hoping for a clean skate now as they perform to I Was Made for Loving You.
And
France's Louise Cohas-Bougie and Daniel Grishin complete their free dance, and I'm just looking back at their past results, and I noticed they were 12th at last year's Junior Grand Prix in Gdansk. But when this team started the program and they were heading into their 1-foot turns, their first element, their speed, their ice coverage and depth of edge had me blown away by how good they were. I think it's just perhaps maintaining that quality toward the later stages of the program. And the judges, when they come to give in the components, it's a percentage-based aspect. As we look there, the forward rocker, and their bracket turn, and there's the counter difficult turn, followed by the twizzle. But it was their flow and glide there that had me thinking this team is surely deserving of being much higher as we look at the twizzles. Now, keen to see why the level has been assigned. What did we see? So yeah, the level 1 and a level 2. So I need to be listening in because I'm very intrigued, because I think those twizzles would have probably been a 4 and a 4 in front of a different panel. So this panel obviously have the reasons and the rationale, and they'll be consistent throughout as we see the choreo character step. But a level 1 and a level 2 for those twizzles is harsher than some would.
well, as you said, they're seeing something that we're not. So, and we're not in that chair. They are in the chair, and they have to make the call, and they follow the criteria, and it can be a little subjective from the perspective of how they're seeing it, where they're seeing it in the rink, and what they're seeing. So, yeah. That's the thing. It's particularly in ice dance because there's so many little aspects. It's a little easier in the singles and pairs. You either fall or you don't fall, and doesn't have quite as much detail as the ice dance does.
And the technical panel will have been watching all of the practices, so they will be very familiar with what their skaters are doing. So they'll be able to get a little bit clearer on some of the weak points that they are anticipating potentially. So we're viewing this on site now. Yeah. They'll have been a little bit more exposed to what has been done and what has been delivered.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the score. 74.45 for the free dance. That is first. And with a 116.74 total competition score, and that'll put them for the moment at least into first place. Well, there is our next team representing China, 17-year-old Shan Ji-yin and 18-year-old Shiryui Yang. Second Junior Grand Prix season.
And this team, like all those that have preceded them this far in the competition, giving that change of energy. The rhythm dance had to be uplifting and high energy. Now seeing some more solemnity as they perform to Lies and Renaissance. Well, visible and obvious joy from Shanxi Yin and our partner Shiri Yang representing China, and I love to see it. And we have spoken at length about the differences between the single skating and the ice dancers. And the ice dancers, although in this rhythm dance competition here was a bit more prone to mistakes, generally it's less visible, the mistakes. So that reaction to the performance gives us confirmation that this was a great skate for this team, or perhaps they're just relieved that it's finally over after all the anticipation.
No, I think they felt really good about the performance, and maybe good about the performance, and that now it's done. I thought there were elements of loveliness in the program, that's for sure. Look at the twizzles, good speed, good unison. Okay, I'll back off. You keep going.
Well, no, you were totally right. Good speed, good unison, and great ice coverage, and that is a positive feature for the judges' grade of execution. You can see covering so much of the ice, and that was the same here as we looked through the 1 foot turns. They were using lots of changes of edge to try to showcase the ice coverage. There again, another change of edge. Now, they can change of edge as many times as they want. They can even hop now within the 1 foot turns, but they must showcase all 4 of the rocker, counter, bracket, and twizzle. And this team, she getting a level 2 on that element, as we see the change of pose, difficult feature in the first part of the combo lift straight line and then into rotational. And here when we see the difference between the teams that are yet to come, just continuing to demand more quality of positioning, as we see a great choreographic slide element, 2 choreographic elements for the juniors, and they were doing back-to-back choreographic elements with the slide and then into the choreographic character step sequence, and that joy makes me happy to see.
There's a little shorter replay, so I kept that nice hug at the end of the program to show the joy as you were commenting on it. No, it's true. I mean, you can take a judgment, not of the score, but you can take judgment of their pleasure and experience, how they react at the end of the program. Let's take a look at the score, 76.85, and they seem pretty happy with that. That'll put them in first place with a 120.35 total competition score after the first group. It's nicely done. And now our next group, group number 2, 5 teams. No, pardon me. 4 teams will take to the ice. This event has a total of 17 teams, 13 nations. Okay, Mark, what have we got to ramble on about here during the next 5 minutes? Right, it's 5? Yeah, 5 minutes.
So I'm just checking my own social media to see if anybody's contacted us, but no questions coming through. So then, I digress. I just need to check all the various different platforms. Oh, wow. Okay, great question from Ann Jensen that requires all the duration of this warm-up, I suspect.
Let's go.
How do you think we can balance trying to get an audience and not giving up all the core aspects of the sport? I'm thinking of that while watching dance. I miss having the compulsories, and that is what is brought to mind. And that is such a great point by Ann Jensen. So for those that are not familiar with the sport, ice dance, when it was first created or first used, it didn't make the Olympic Games till 76. With the latest addition to the Olympics in our sport. But it was comprising largely, or a huge weight of this aspect of the discipline was compulsory dances. Compulsory dances are steps that are clearly defined with a clear tempo and clear hold between the 2 partners that everybody would perform. And they would, at one point there would be 6 of them, and then it was 2, and then the last time that the compulsory dances were performed in competition was the last event I ever did, the 2010 World Championships. And for many, they miss seeing that aspect when all of the teams had to perform the exact same steps. It would give a very obvious awareness for the judges and the audience of which teams were stronger at skating. When they're all doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, you can see, well, who's faster and who's better and who looks nicer. That has been eradicated from this discipline. And I think it is akin to what happened in single skating when the compulsory figures were removed, because they were not TV friendly particularly. There wasn't as much excitement as we see now in the ice dance competition when skaters have different costuming and different themes and thematics. I understand, and I think many die-hard ice dancers miss that fundamental part of the sport, and change is hard to accept a little bit. And I still miss compulsory dances, and I still miss seeing it as a kind of die-hard ice dancer. It's a very good question. How do we keep the fundamental aspects of the sport while still attracting a new audience and viewership? And in answer to Anne's question, I'm sorry, Ted, I'm just going on warbling here, but I don't have a definitive answer to that. But I do know, having heard word on the ground and knowing some of the members of the ISU Ice Dance Technical Committee, that's a big part of their decision making is with fanship and viewership in mind. We look at the choices for the rhythm dance season upon season, the music choices, the theme choices. They're trying to engage people and not make the sport seem fuddy-duddy and formulaic with everybody doing the exact same steps at the exact same time.
Well, I mean, we can relate this to life. I mean, things change. They just change. There was no internet before, so that you could read the newspaper or whatever you wanted. You had to pick up a newspaper. Times change, and I'm of the older generation, so you don't like change, and I'd rather read the newspaper in the morning, but no, it's changed. You just have to adapt. So the reality is, we can't have our cake and eat it too. You can't have all things that you want. So if you have compulsory dances, you're not going to have an audience. You're going to have a smaller audience, right? And also, I would argue that it's very difficult to understand how judging in ice dance is done because there's so much detail.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with compulsory dances. They all look to be good skaters. They all look to be on that outside edge. They all look to do a good rocker, but it's minute detail that a fan would never, ever know or appreciate. So then you have to figure out, well, how do you actually sell that sport? It is the storytelling and the drama and the emotion of it all, which helps to sell the sport. So I can see argument on both sides. I think that it's a very good question, and I think there is good value in the compulsory dance. And maybe there's a way that it's going to be, every 4 years that they have, instead of the rhythm dance, there'll be a compulsory dance, right? So I don't know. I mean, you let it up to the creative minds of and I can promise is too strong of a word, but I can encourage you to believe that the organization is going to look at all things in all disciplines as to how they can maybe appeal to the new audience, to not a younger audience. It's important to have a range for the whole audience, to appeal for the audience's experience both in the building and online. So I think you'll see changes over the next 4 years. I really do, and I really applaud the organization for being bold enough to put everything on the table and then select what they think is going to work out. But it's not easy, and they won't please all people all the time.
And, it's a really interesting point there about fan viewership, because then I hear the reaction of the fans and the diehard ice dancers who have very strong opinions about the world's elite and how some are better than others. But I also see, the fanship and how there can be very differing opinions.
Yeah.
There's not enough time, but I would love to dive into it more.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good that we're not diving into it more. Here we go.
Probably, definitely.
There we go. Okay, thank you to the Swedish team. Up next, representing Sweden, 17-year-old Anna McKenzie and 20-year-old Wesley Lockwood. This is their second Junior Grand Prix season.
And Anna and Wesley, unlike any of the teams that we've seen in the first group, they choosing to keep a joyful energy and upbeat tempo as they skate to Big Spender and Pennies from Heaven on Monday. Anna Mackenzie and Wesley Lockwood representing Sweden, and you can see the couple just, it looks almost like Anna's looking at the ice there, because whilst there aren't, as I said earlier in this event, huge cataclysmic falls and the like, hopefully, which make obvious glaring mistake, the issue that they had with the 1 foot turns will be really costly in terms of their score, and that impacts upon their satisfaction. But they hold one another as they embrace off the ice, so the connection between the team, the most important thing.
I think I got that in the replay. Hopefully, I'm going to slow it down and see what happened. She caught an edge.
Great energy there to start. And this was, they chose to do a serpentine step sequence, different pattern to that which you normally see, more lobage to offer a chance to see more clear edges. As we look at the twizzles, here it has to be between 2 and 4 steps between the first and the second. And there's similar levels to that which we've seen from others. As we look now to the curve lift. And at this point in time, all good. Here's where things started to go awry. It looked like Anna Mackenzie was just trying to drive the outgoing edge of her rocker turn. The right forward outside edge was so crazy steep, probably because she knew that if she did that, she might get higher level on the 1 foot turns element. It looked like it just was too extreme potentially.
Yeah, I agree. Here we go.
Yuris Razgalaev nearly got a punch in the face there as she put her jacket on.
Freedance score 61.36 for Anna and Wesley. That's fourth in the freedance with a 105.61 total competition score, and that'll put them overall, for the moment at least, into fourth place. Our next team represents Czechia. Lauren Audrey Batka and Jacob Yang, both are 19 years old.
They will perform to Miss Saigon, and their choreographer, Joey Russell, explaining that it's obviously a used piece, but great to have an ice dance team and 2 characters to showcase the storytelling to come. Lauren Odrybadka and Jacob Yang representing Czechia, skating a clean skate, and I'm a sucker for Miss Saigon. It's my favorite musical, like the second music I ever skated to, and just great to see how well trained this team was for this event. And as I mentioned, the choreographer Joey was saying that he was hoping that they could deliver in competition what they've been showcasing in practice, and a really emotional, powerful free dance, and you could see that emotion and.
Yeah, I think even Lauren at the end, you could see that fist pump, but I think it was caught up in the emotion of the music as well, and the great skate added together to equal a great feeling at the end. And
that was a nice transition to open as well, with it unwrap into the opening transitions. This station lift, I think this was first created by Guinar and Fabry, but it's so impressive. And they made an effortless job of it. As we look now to their twizzles, I just put my head in. That was a toe loop entry, wasn't it?
Yeah, interesting.
And that, the toe loop entry, just trying to do all they can to spark more positive features. And that you could put that down as a creative entry, which is in the criteria for the judges. So when the judges come to give them the GOE, they can make it easy by elements like that added to the choreography.
I asked Mark, could you do a double toe loop entry? He said, no, can't do
that. That is listed. Jumps of more than one rotation are listed as illegal elements in the ice dance competition unless it is a entry or exit from a lift. So theoretically, somebody could jump a double axel and be caught as a difficult entry, but that would be kind of nuts. So I don't think we're going to see that. And look here, when you know that you've skated well and you've got the choreo character step as the last element, it's opportunity to just let go and allow the body to showcase that emotion. And just here, some might argue, you shouldn't showcase that emotion so soon, but I'm here for it. I love that rawness of reaction to performances. Andrew Hallam joins them in the kiss and cry. And now moving forward for Lauren and Jacob, it's just continuing to work on those fundamental skating skills so that each push accrues more ice coverage.
Well, 75.73 is their personal best so far from their score last year, 120.19 total competition score. That puts them currently overall into second place. Oh, look how close that is. Wow.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, very close. Our next team represents Spain, 16-year-old Sarah Marcili Vasquez and 17-year-old Jolene Engel. This is their second Junior Grand Prix season.
The music, Shores and the New World. I'm fascinated to see the concept behind it. Certainly costuming, unique and creative already. As Sarah and Jolene start their free dance.
She thought it was romantic, like Romeo and Juliet. She'd
Well, we've spoken about what are the attributes to the different disciplines, and this team of Sarah Marseille, Vasquez, and Jolan Engel given to me very ice dance vibes. There's an insight into the characters they are, unique, brave, and bold to tackle music and choreography and costuming that isn't conventional, and that's what makes the ice dance event so interesting to spectate, and I applaud them for all of the aspects of originality that they bring to this free dance.
No question, it's certainly different, and I kind of like, not that's important, but I kind of like the costumes because it makes you ask a question. What is it about?
Yeah, it's, and you can't help but, I wanted to talk about the fundamentals, the way in which they skate, or the levels that they achieve in these twizzles, but the costume is just, it's cool, it's unique, and it is a talking point. Like, it's a super cool talking point.
Yeah,
even though it will have no impact on their score.
No, not at all. I came up with a story. I was thinking, oh, it's kind of like out of a Star Trek. They've reached a new planet with a, like you're making your own story, but they made me think that way. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know.
Here, just working through the straight line and then the rotational lift. And I'm really interested to just kind of hear more from the technical panel, because their insight obviously is so pivotal to us in helping understand, for the skaters as well, what's taking place. Their choreographic character step sequence, and there's an exclamation mark on that currently, in addition to a negative grade of execution from the panel. So we'll be able to hopefully find out the rationale behind that from the tech panel, because you can see the amount of work that was obviously done by Sarah and Jolan to try to cultivate the greatest choreography that they could for the music that they have. And there'll be some changes had to be made to their choreographic elements based on what the panel have seen here.
I'm just listening to the panel.
Okay, cool. Well, I have to give then an opportunity to shout out to Antoine Charrier, their coach, who I think I said in the rhythm dance. He has taught Sarah from 5 years old and Jolan from 8 years old, and now at 16 and 17 there's a working partnership that has spanned nearly a decade, and he has facilitated in these young humans the belief to be bold and original, and that will serve them well for life beyond the realms of the competitive ice dance competition. As the technical panel continue to just review this.
So it was on the choreographic steps. There was I'm not sure what they had put in. They had a question in there, but they were looking at the distance between the skaters. This is one of the issues that was picked up. So I'm not sure which way they went on that, but that's all I heard of the conversation, right?
Yeah, so there are 7 different types of choreographic element that the couples can choose from. And they have to pick 2, and this team choosing the assisted jumps and the step sequence.
71.10. That's fourth for the free dance with a 116.68 total competition score. That'll put them, for the moment, into 4th place. There's a look at the standings. There's been a lot of movement, people up and down, and in this free dance. It's quite a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, I love that.
We see our next team representing Germany, 16-year-old Nelly Elisa Hemke and 18-year-old Artem Sladkov. Second Junior Grand Prix season for this team.
And we saw the Titanic soundtrack performed in the women's event successfully for Murakami from Japan. Now, this is the same soundtrack for the German ice dance team.
Rose, you're the most amazing, astounding, wonderful girl, woman that I've ever known. I'm not an idiot. I know how the world works. But I'm telling you now, you jump on my jump.
And
Nelly, Eliza Hemke, and Artyom Sladkov representing Germany, and this is what makes the discipline of ice dance so fascinating. We've just seen contemporary originality from the Spaniards, and the Germans here giving us a lovely, very clear-cut love story, costuming very visible and obvious. The story is laid out very clearly to engage with. So they did that perfectly well. The Titanic theme, we're definitely getting the characters of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet for Nelly and Artyom.
yeah, not knowing so much about the detail of the ice dance overall, I really liked it just while watching it. And I think they're good skaters, and I think they connected to the music, and they have good deep edges. I think they might be taking the lead after this. We'll see.
And here we just see the step sequence whereby various different holds have to be performed. Great to see. It's a difficult choice of turn, the left back outside counter for Artyom. Not sure it was called cleanly, but his entry going edge was deep in the knee and ankle. As we see this part of the storytelling. So you can almost, I see as I watch this back, almost the concept of the sinking ship. You can see the desperation as they work through the choreo character step. Now, it's a story that we all know, the Titanic story, the film, but they still had to deliver it expressively. And you can see Artyom's hair really accentuating each of his head movements throughout. This was tricky though, struggling through the synchronized twizzles, braking and rotation, but such a smooth, difficult entry into the straight line lift, and they did that masterfully before then heading in to do the combination straight line and rotational lift. And there the change of pose as he works through at least 6 rotations for the level that was achieved.
Beautiful. Well, their personal best score is 64.88, and they should beat that with this performance here.
This team will also be going to Baku as well, so they've got another opportunity. So the feedback they get here with the points that are going to be accrued, they'll then go back and work with Vitaly and Diana to ensure it gets higher still in Azerbaijan.
71.34, it got a big from Nelly Elisa, and a 117.69 total competition score. That'll put them, for the moment, into 3rd place. There's a look at your top 5 on the leaderboard so far, with 2 groups to come. As we will take a look at the standings as we prepare for another ice resurfacing. Mark, give us a little bit of a update on the list of videos that we'll play back during this ice resurfacing.
Well, another interview with Turkish figure skating, and this time it will be the Turkish synchronized skating team. Before then, an interview from last week with the winners in Riga, Canada's Leila Villon and Alexander Brandis.
Well, we'll be back with the final 2 groups in the free dance and the last of the competition here in Ankara. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Here in Ankara with Jaden and Jared from the synchronized skating team here in Turkey. Now, first of all, I want to ask you what you love about the sport. What makes you come back to the rink every day? What is the feeling of skating?
Figure skating and synchronized skating is part of my life, and I love skating. It's a wonderful experience for me, and every time and every day.
How about for you?
And in Synchro, we are skating since childhood, and we love so much skate with our sisters. It's really excited to us.
A team, a family.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, wonderful experiences, and congratulations. You went to the World Championships last year in synchronized skating. But I want to also ask you about a special experience that you had last year skating in a frozen lake in northern Turkey. What was that like?
It was like wonderful experience. I feel free when I did skates in the frozen lake. And did you see the photo? I'm on the horse,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And for you, what was that experience like?
When we see she's in the horse, we are all like, oh my God, what she's doing right now, and the horse doing so much thing in there. We are so happy for her.
It was such a beautiful shot. Of course, I think you've seen it right now. It's so beautiful to skate outside. There's no question of that. You have a passion for skating. The skating in Turkey here at Ankara is incredible because there's so much energy around this sport. We love your passion, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the World Synchronized Skating Championships again, and of course many skaters here that are the Junior Grand Prix. So congratulations. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Leila and Alex, huge congratulations. You are gold medalists. Now you are coming into this Junior Grand Prix season in, I think, your 4th season on the Junior Grand Prix. You've had a bronze medal before, but what were your ambitions and goals for this season?
I just want to be bold, very much out there. Want to prove that like we deserve this. We deserve like to be.
At the
I guess
top.
yeah, at the top. Yeah.
Coming into this year, like Alex said, that was a main focus for us, and we really had a lot of like passion towards our programs and everything coming into this year, especially after last year. We knew what we needed to improve on, and being able to be here and just get that one step further has felt amazing. We're really proud of ourselves.
And rightly so. You both looked incredible. I particularly loved your free dance. Now, it's an amazing achievement, not just to win gold here, but to have had a partnership that is already 11 years old. You guys have been skating together. I mean, you're not old enough to be skating together for 11 years. So what, though, is the main goal? How many more years are you guys going to skate together? Is there any ambition there?
Until I get tired of her. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We get told we're like an old married couple because we're definitely like brother sister also.
Yeah.
But obviously the big goal is the Olympics one day, and however many years that takes, we're in it and we're ready.
Ah, happy days. Now, we were joking earlier on with your coach, Kara Moyer, who's here and supported you here, about how you've put up with Mr. Scott Moyer. I thought that was comical. But you've got an amazing, illustrious coaching staff. How much do they inspire you guys?
Oh, greatly. Like they're the reason why I want to keep skating. I want to keep improving. They bring really great energy every day at the rink.
Every single day they inspire us, like Alex said. We can't imagine training anywhere else, honestly. We love all of our coaches. They bring all such a different aspect and different ideas. Like the creativity is just insane, and the care for their athletes. And we absolutely love it.
Oh, that's incredible. So gold here in Riga. Where's the next stop for you guys on the Junior Grand Prix?
You dance to Poland.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we wish you all the very best, and thank you for the brilliant skating here.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ankara, Turkey, the final two groups in event number 2 on the Junior Grand Prix circuit. Free dance champion will be crowned, some points will be earned, and then stage 2 of the journey towards Junior Grand Prix final in Nagoya will have been completed. I'm Ted Barton, along with Mark Hanratty, joining us from Nottingham, and Mark will be joining me in Varese next week as we have the dance. The men and the women pairs events will pick up only in Gdansk. In Bangkok and then Gdansk.
It's I'm chuckling to myself, Ted, as we watch the British team and this group of dancers, because we were asked in the last warm-up a wonderful question regarding how we attract more viewers while still having integrity of the sport. And without having thought about it, you and I were ruminating about what options there could be, because some lament the lack now of the compulsory dances, which were previously a part of this discipline. And then I suggested, I don't know if it was on air or off air to you, oh well, we could have multiple teams on the ice doing compulsory dances at the same time, because that would get viewers to watch. Because I actually, as you suggested then, think the ice dance warm-up is the most viewer engaging, terrifying, comical aspect of this sport, because it's like playing chicken on a motorway or a highway with very fast moving individuals. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, what do they call it? Roller derby? It would be exciting. Yeah. No, but it would be more like not classic, but ballroom dance. And
yes,
it would be more engaging. Yeah. No. I
I never consider myself the ideas man, but I'm going to roll with that for a while. We'll see. Maybe being posed questions, as we have been by the wonderful audience watching and listening into this live stream, maybe posing questions to us on the spot stops me overthinking and just coming out with ideas. So please keep sending those questions in.
Okay.
And speaking of questions,
yes.
we're working on questions.
That's why I love working with you. You can fill time so well as I'm working with you. No, go ahead.
I've got your back.
Yeah.
Questions are coming in regarding the anatomy of a figure skate. And there's actually a request for us to potentially create a piece or a video of sorts to detail and describe a little bit more about what these entities are at the end of the skater's legs. And the figure skating boot that we're seeing now for all of the teams in this group is different. The actual boot and the blade are both different for the ice dancers than that of the single skaters and the pair skaters. And that might be something that many of those listening had no idea about.
Yeah. And the question is, we can say it's different and smaller, but why? Why did they make it shorter?
If you look at Irmak, Yücel, the Turkish woman coming to barrier now, you'll see on both she and Anael, who's at ringside now, the back of their boot is cut down lower than that of the single skaters. And the reason for that is to facilitate a better leg line, a more aesthetically pleasing leg line. For the single skaters, where the boot is higher at the back, that's to give them more support for the landing of the jumps.
But does it also help for the ice dancer to use their ankles to deepen that edge a little bit? Now, we saw that edge slip off as they went a little bit too deep, but I'm not sure who it was. But does it not help with the ankle?
Absolutely. Yeah, and not just depth of edge, but also with the boot being lower cut at the back, it does allow you to have more ankle flexion. So when the dancers are trying to push for deeper edges and more speed, they've got a little bit more range of ankle use because it's not restricted by the high-backed boot. So, and actually now I know different skaters have different desires for the cut at the back, and for me as a professional skater, I know a lot of skaters performing who want an even lower cut boot at the back because they're all about the aesthetic. Whereas the skaters in the ice dance competition here, they have a low cut boot for the aesthetic too, but they also need to still have enough support in the boot to help them really accelerate and push and get some traction from the boot itself.
Could you repeat that again? Because I've been watching the audience here and fascinated with the things and not really listening to you. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
It's all good.
They were great shots to have the audience in there, all enthusiastic. Okay, here we go. The start of group number 3, representing the United States, Anel Koivi and Jan Homawu, 14 and 15 years of age. This is their first Junior Grand Prix event.
And Anaya and Jan, as cousins, come in with a different energy, but they are using similar, if not the same music to that of the winners from last week, Lila Velan and Alexander Brandis. This will be Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Anaya Cuevi and Jan Homawu from the United States of America, they are so powerful and strong. The ice coverage in the diagonal step sequence was epic. I'm so pleased that this team, having had the disappointment of mistaking the rhythm dance, are able to come back with a clean free dance, much to the delight of the other skaters that are on their team with them. And great to see the skaters either returning to the rink today when they finished yesterday or staying after the performances early in the day to support Anaya and Jan. Looking back at the performance here, there was just such dynamism here in their movement. And here you can see a little bit like the single skaters. Earlier on in the program, there's more commitment to each shape and each line. You can see clear desire to hit the same extension on the second twizzle. And here, good foot placement in the third twizzle as the Group C feature. And a difficult entry into the rotational lift. And I love the exit of this, the way in which the difficult exit was facilitated with that twizzle from Anael out of the hold. Somewhat unique as we look through their 1 foot turns. Yeah, the rocker. Just looking at level 1 for both partners on that element as we look to the straight line lift. Change of pose, 1 foot exit, and just starting to see a little bit less clarity in the body shaping. Totally understandable because they were so energetic in the early stages of this free dance that it'd be almost superhuman to maintain that same kind of energy at the end, but that will develop as the season progresses. And I look forward to see how it will progress. And I'm still here for the music. So I heard that music last week. It's wonderful. The Vivaldi piece is so good.
77.98 for NL and Jan with a 124.50 total competition score, and they will take the lead as we enter into group number 3. And there is a look at the standings so far at the top 5. Our next team represents China, 14-year-old Yuxu Xing and 19-year-old Han Wan Chao. No international record at this point.
And Xing and Chao, you know, the costumes do say so much. They unsurprisingly will skate to the Mary Poppins soundtrack. Yu Juan Jing and Han Wan Cha from China complete their free dance. And it's funny, Ted, this is the second event of the Junior Grand Prix series, and yet, despite the fact that I've spent my life on ice skating, I'm still watching these performances. Oh, sorry, they're from Hong Kong. I think I perhaps gave the wrong nation there.
But, I think of, yeah, me too, yeah. Okay, good.
Sorry. But I still am entertained. I'm still surprised at what the different teams have to offer. And I think to see Yu Xuanjing and Han Wanchai come out with the Mary Poppins and their interpretation of that is such stark contrast to the likes of the Titanic and the other Vivaldi that we've seen. And they ran with it, a story and a thematic that they embraced. So many influences that they can use with film and the musical of Mary Poppins. And you can see as we look at the playback and kind of more erect posture than we perhaps nowadays see in ice dance. Nowadays, skaters tend to have their hips a little bit further back, but here you can see in Yu Xuan giving old school English style neckline and posture, and it's perfectly appropriate for Mary Poppins, as are these movements within the choreographic character step sequence. And so bearing in mind, they now have to influence the judges on a scale of +5 to -5 for this element. And the marching there, that, straight out of the Julie Andrews movie, so it's on point choreographically and in fitting with the music.
Great job. They don't have a personal best from last season, so we'll see what this score is going to be. But I think it's very charming routine and well done. Managed to catch the character. Here we go. Sorry, Mark.
No. It's interesting to see their composition score the highest of the three, so the judges liking the choreography.
Well, look at this. Look at the reaction. The Kiss and Cry 79.61 and a 126.92 as they take the lead in this event, and they are thrilled. You do the job, you get the reward. And they did it. And she's just absolutely astonished and thrilled. Very cool. Our next team represents Great Britain. Mimi Marley Davis and Joseph Black. Mimi's 14, Joseph is 18. This is her second Junior Grand Prix season, 7th after the rhythm dance.
And selection of music from George Gershwin for Mimi and Joseph. Great Britain's Mimi Marler-Davies and Joseph Black continuing. This is their second Junior Grand Prix season, but coming into this with a whole load more experience. They've learned so much from last year and now coming with much more awareness of what is necessary. And indeed, as we see the support for them ringside from the family that have come here to encourage them. It's interesting to note that Mimi's wearing Lila Fear's 2017 dress, so they share the same coaches as Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson had earlier on in their career. And great to see that support from one senior generation of British skater to the juniors here now. And she looks fabulous in it. So look back. This extension through the difficult feature with the leg on the first twizzle. And here pushing that ice coverage, trying to ensure that they showcase good grade of execution and skating skills. I thought Joseph did a really good job. You could see him checking and spotting to Mimi, and you look to me like he was mindful he needed to speed up a little bit to match Mimi. And here, this straight line left here showcasing everything that the George Gershwin characterization needs. Hopefully they'll just be able to continue to work on refining the positions within this rotational left to keep pumping that grade of execution ever higher. Some good transitional content. And now I know that last year this couple were involved in their choreography process with their coaches Karen Quinn and Anna Bretti, and this year we've also brought in Neil Brown for the free dance, but I'm sure as stage school youngsters themselves, they will have continued to add their own insights, particularly through the likes of that character step sequence.
Well, the personal best so far in their career, 66.74. They should beat that here with this performance. We'll see how close that comes to first place, which is a 77.81. They would need that to take the lead.
Oh, see, they're well trained in choreography, making sure their heart shape with the kiss and cry is just that little bit superior. So we wait for the judges' inputs. It's interesting to note, Ted, that Mimi's mum is the creative director for Kath Kidson, who's, I don't know about in Canada, but loads of clothes worn by women throughout the country by Kath Kidson. And so Mimi's mum's also consequently given her knowledge on design involved in the creation of the costumes, and she did the creation of Joseph's costume and also the rhythm dance for Mimi yesterday. So it's a creative, artistic family.
A fashion family. That's going to be mean a lot, that's for sure. So we take a look. The judges still have not put their scores in. They haven't finished the review process. The technical panel goes through the process, and once all the elements have been confirmed by the technical panel as to the level of difficulty, then the judges put their scores in, and we see that come up. Right now it's 0 out of 10 judges, but then we've just completed the technical panel operation, and now we'll see the judges' scores coming in.
Interesting, they haven't been awarded the choreographic slide move, so one of the elements that they use hasn't been given or called by the technical panel. So information again, as we've seen already in this competition, that the panel are stricter in the requirements, and so it may be that it wasn't sustained for a sufficient amount of time, but certainly the panel not satisfied that that criteria was met. So for Mimi and Joseph, whatever they achieve here, they're missing at least 2 points on that one element alone that we'll hopefully be able to add very easily.
74.47, that is fifth in the free dance with a 123.59. That'll put Mimi and Joseph currently into third place with 6 teams to come. And here they are, representing Turkey, Irmak, Yücel, and Daniel Pak.
And already today, we've had excitement and success for Turkish skaters following the men's competition earlier today. Irmak Yücel and Daniel Pak, the final skaters from the host nation. And they will perform to some music which is sure to get the crowd going. As we just check, actually, that's interesting. You can see just sprinting over rinkside. Somebody's a little bit over eager and zealous. to offer the stuffy, but they want to make sure they're in start position within 30 seconds of their name being called. Bohemian Rhapsody, and Who Wants to Live Forever music. Ermak, Icha, and Daniel Pak. And Ted, this is, I can even hear the team in the commentary office with you cheering and applauding. I feel like, we're so privileged to see little moments like this. It's not the Olympic Games, but for these skaters and those people now, it's like the Olympic Games. It's their moment, and you can see the poster just at the top of the screen there. This is, it's a really special moment in people's lives, and I'm a sucker for that. It makes me emotional.
Totally. The momentum is building about this sport in this country, and you can see it and you can feel it in the fans. Obviously, the skaters, they have it. They have a passion for this. But the fans here, those that follow the sport, and it's a growing community every day. It's just exploded over the last 3 years or so. It's so great to see.
And almost the music choice for Ermak and Daniel almost feels like it was built for this moment when they were close to the end of the Junior Grand Prix in their home country. It was engaging for this this time, this moment, and you could feel the energy. Even, with the Italians in our commentary booth, they too engage. We're all engaged. As I love that transition between the first and the second twizzle and the forward outside paragraph loop. It's fun, really fun. And I'm so pleased that they had a clean skate.
Yeah, it made the whole emotional moment, that much stronger, much higher. And whatever the scores are, that was a great moment. And I think their scores should be pretty good. They have a 78.67, their personal best. We'll see if they can reach that level with this performance. And it's, you're right about the music at the end of the program. It just pumps it up. It was perfect timing. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, no, completely. And as we look at that, this is the music, the iconic music played through their choreo character step. It's hard to choreograph without having to do the kind of quintessential hand clap, and hopefully they'll continue to develop and refine that choreo character step to just keep finding the nuances in the music without it being twee, as we see that little single cycle difficult exit from the stationary lift.
Yeah, a little fist pump.
Love that. Love that.
That was great.
And this is when you want time to slow down for those, the skaters and coach now.
Yeah, to enjoy the moment, right?
Yeah, just embrace the clasp hands and hope for good scores too.
Let's see the scores. Anticipation. You got us ready. You got us ready. Let's deliver it.
Don't offer it if you're not going to come through with the goods. There we go.
Scores 79.89. That is first in the free dance. The total competition 132.91. I don't know. They look a little disappointed, but that's a good score. That beats their personal best from last season. Okay, now they seem to be a little happier. Wow. Well, as you said, their goal was the podium, and that may be a far reach here in this case, but they have the lead after 3 groups. I'm not sure they've been in that position yet at this level of competition. So congratulations.
Yeah. I think the best they've achieved is a 9th and 10th in the Junior Grand Prix before, so it's stepping on up higher and still more junior years of age eligibility. They look mature, but they still get the opportunity to stay in juniors and get ever closer to the podium, which is what the couples on the ice now are absolutely vying for. 5 teams, only 3 podium places.
As we talked about, Mark, in the very beginning of this dance event, of course, Pytgena and Koval from Ukraine were the pretty heavy favorites coming in. But after that, we really didn't know what was going to happen, and it started to take shape. However, the scores after first place is a 58.65 for the Canadians, and then a 57.88 for the French, and then a 57.14 for another Canadian team, and a 54 for the Americans. It's very, very close. And as we've seen in this event, lots of shifting up and down through the standings. So really, anything can happen. I think for Pytgena and Koval, they have a good 5-point lead. They should be fine, barring any major mistakes.
Yeah, but as we've seen in this competition, the technical panel have even not chosen to put in choreographic elements on the system. So the choreographic element could be what perhaps single skaters would view as like a choreo sequence. It's not as high risk, it's not as stressful, and so perhaps it's a coasting moment for some of the dancers. But here today, with a panel that's as stringent as they are, you can't coast at any point, because if you lose a choreo element, that could be a medal gone.
No, you have to meet the criteria. If you don't meet the criteria, you don't get it. It's pretty clear. So that's their call. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Wow.
Watching the Ukrainian team that lead the field by some way, they have their own goals though for this event. For them, no longer will winning the event be satisfactory. I mean, that'll be lovely and a relief and, achievement that they needed to do, but they will also be cognizant of the scores that they achieve and the desire to push themselves as front runners for not just the final, but Junior Worlds.
Well, and also, I mean, I think they're in the junior season, but they're looking toward the senior, and that would be next year.
Yeah.
And so they want to set themselves apart as the seniorish junior that there exists in ice dance this season, and so they want to have that gap. And the question was, the teams in front of them from last year have split or have moved up into seniors, so that was fine. They moved their way up, but they wanted to separate it by their skill and by the dance. And we have yet to see that. We haven't seen that in the free dance yet. We'll find out on this day.
Yeah, so true. We look at huge ice coverage, and that's what we can always expect to see in an ice dance competition, that the skating skills will dictate so much, and the ice coverage is a real testament to the power that the ice dancers have. And as I've said before over the broadcast, the component scores for the judges, which we maybe don't discuss as much, they are the same criteria for all the disciplines: pair skating, single skating, and ice dance. And so, the skaters should, or could realistically skate in the same way across discipline, just with different elements. However, there's no debating that ice dancers have stylistic differences in their movement.
But so, it's an interesting question, because dance is all about performance and composition and character and all those things. In pair skating, each technical element takes the length of the rink, basically. They don't have the time to have that same. So judging the different disciplines on the same criteria, which I suppose is accurate and fair, but the ability of the ice dancers to really meet the program component criteria is much higher than that of probably pair skating, because of the length of the time that it takes to do the technical elements.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting, discussion point. If you think about all the skaters on the same criteria, so theoretically you could have a judge who specializes in single skating being able to judge the skating skills of the ice dancers. It would be a great case study to see whether or not, if we put, say, the world's, say, a skater in the pairs event that's getting 9s out of 10 in the components, and put them against a skater that's in the dance event getting 9s out of 10s in the components. I actually do think you could. It's interesting, because the program construction is different. The pair skaters wouldn't necessarily be comfortable doing what the dancers do, and the dancers wouldn't be comfortable doing what the pair skaters do. That's an interesting one. That would be a great skate-off. Let's put Edge class on for the world's best singles, pairs, and dancers, and let's see what we think.
We are going a little insane right now, so we to fill the time. So
we should caveat that with the 100th hour of commentary.
Yeah, we have to calm down here. Okay, the final group in the final event here on week number 2 of the Junior Grand Prix takes to the ice. There they are, representing the United States of America, 16-year-old Annalise Steppert and 17-year-old Maxime Korotkov. At the U.S. Nationals in junior, they were 7th. And here they are on the Junior Grand Prix.
Annalise and Maxime scheduled to compete next week in Varese as well, hoping to start their Junior Grand Prix season with a successful free dance to Les Miserables. I love the choreographic sliding move to conclude the free dance Les Miserables for Annelies Stepper and Maxim Korotkov. And as we were discussing off air, Ted, just great to see how this team has been readied and prepared and packaged for this competition. And we could see, to me, they are a better combination of the two parts than two individuals. Individually, both will be continuing to work and hone their individual skating skills, but the coaching staff behind them has made sure that they are ready as a team to compete junior, while still being, I'm sure, mindful of the individual needs.
Every team and every individual skater will have their strengths and weaknesses as to whether or not you are fully prepared on every aspect, so that the weaknesses are diluted a little bit and the strengths are increased as the visibility of the strengths. And I think this team is so well prepared and designed that their strengths outshine any of the weaknesses. At least at this moment, there's certainly some things that can be seen in regards to skating skills.
Just, it looked like she got a little further away from the body for Maxime than he would have normally liked, but nevertheless well salvaged there, as I think he just managed to cling on to the exit of that. And you know, there's also a real awareness here when we look at this team of the construction of the program. You know, Elena Novak and Alexei Kilyakov and Pierre, they all know so well what's necessary to give them the goods that they need for the GOEs and the element levels. And so that's kind of what I mean when I say that they're packaged as we look at the choreo slide. And so they need to make sure that they sustain the choreo slide for at least 2 seconds. And that may be the reason that we didn't see it called for others earlier today, but not so for Annelies and Maxime.
Well, they don't have a personal best registered. This is their first outing here, and this will be it. They have an 83.51, and I think Annelies went, whoa, that's good. That's first in the free dance with the total competition score of 137.57. They seem to be pretty thrilled with that score as they take over the lead with 4 teams to come. Top 5.
Job done. Job done well.
Our next team represents Canada, 18-year-old Aurea Second-Debut and Earl Jesse Celestino. He is 19, third Junior Grand Prix season.
And they wanted to do a Wednesday Addams vibe, but had issues with click and clear, so they came across Beetlejuice, and they have fallen in love with the characters that they inhabit for this free dance. Aurea Sankalon debut and Earl Jesse Celestino from Canada complete their Junior Grand Prix debut of the 2025-2026 season. And this couple will be delighted to find themselves higher in the rankings than they have been in the previous seasons. But of course, when you find yourself just off the podium, you're doing all you possibly can to snare a medal, and they find themselves less than a point adrift of the French team here in third place. And certainly Aurea and El Jesse are so well packaged as well. And it's interesting, Ted, I see, so many of the Ice Academy in Montreal girls, women's energies in Aurea. I see a little bit of Caitlin Hawaii, I see a little bit of Hannah Lim, and she's got so many good influences in her skating, and you could tell she's been studying her peers.
I think it's really brilliantly done. I know they wanted to use Wednesday. You mentioned that they couldn't, or they chose not to use that music, but they have a little bit of the Wednesday in this theme.
Yeah, it's got that kind of creepy
Addams Family type of
way,
vibe, if you will.
Yeah, and you can see exits and entries with facial expression befitting of what's necessary. Even little things like the touch of the way in which Aurea is holding her hands. She's not holding them elegantly or balletically. She's holding them with a tension in them that is appropriate to the music. As we see lots of ice coverage here within the step sequence. And then into the rotational lift level 4. And they add almost a point in the grade of execution to that element. And that will be something that they're really keen to do, is to try to push more towards the +3s, maybe even some +4s if they're going to be competitive for medals. As you see Benjamin Brizois working the headography in the back of shot there, just living every step with the team that he's proud to be here with and responsible for. And we've seen choreographic slides very similar to that throughout the course of this event already, but Aurea and El Jesse and the team behind it just enhancing it, giving a little bit more, adding more intensity facially, as well as adding more movement to the back of it. So it requires a better grade of execution because of what they have done in the preparation for its performance.
The freedance scores for Aurea and Earl Jesse: 84.47, not of approval by all three of the kiss and cry. That is first of the free dance with a total competition score of 141.61 as they take over the lead with 3 teams to come. And they're ever so close to the French team, who is essentially, they were tied after both with 57 points. So the French team needs to skate clean, no major mistakes. And the next team,
good to see that,
does represent France, 19-year-old Leah Hien and 18-year-old Louis Verescon.
And unlike the Canadians who have been training together for 9 years, this couple together for just a little over a year, finding themselves in a bronze medal winning position. Léa Etienne and Louis Barescon from France, and we're just trying to ascertain how much the costly mistake of their twizzles will impact upon the result for this French team. But there was a mistake, obviously, and it was perhaps risky to have that higher risk element as the penultimate element in their free dance. But what was indisputable is the quality of their skating. And for me, you see the coach at the side of the rink, Olivier Schoenfelder, and Maria Zazui is involved, and Marianne de l'Ascension, and they have been so pivotally involved in the creation of deep knees and ankles in basic stroking, and that was evident from the outset for Léa and Louis wonderfully well.
Yeah, they have beautiful body line, wonderful deep edges, wonderful flow throughout the program. But look at the depth of that edge there, the cleanliness of the turns.
And they just ride the edges, knee actions that just facilitate more glide. So each stroke will cover ice, even though they're working on the difficult turns, they're still also really surmounting a better skating skills score than anything that we've seen thus far. She works through the layback feature. Now, this is where things get costly. No issue at all with the first of the twizzles. Right forward outside, what was it? Waltz jump entry into left back outside twizzle. It's always, well, not always, but for the majority of teams, it's the more difficult direction of rotation. And now the technical panel just assessing how much rotation was actually achieved, because before the mistakes, to decide upon the level for the two skaters, because it's going to have a pretty big impact on their score as Olivier Schoenfelder joins them.
Yeah, as I mentioned, they're essentially tied with 57 points after the rhythm dance with Aurea and Earl Jesse, but it's very close. Oh, but the Twizzles now went from a 2-1 to a 2, so that is going to make a difference.
And it's hard to know what Léa. Right, it's hard to know what Léa and Louis would want, because they haven't had a Junior Grand Prix, so I'm not sure what their expectations are. But I just look at Olivier, who's so chilled, world champion himself. Whatever the scores are, a coach like that knows, well, I've still got so much more work to do with you. I've got so much more to teach you. Yeah. This is just a kind of, almost like a learning experience. Have a nice time. Because
not that it doesn't matter, but in the big picture, it doesn't matter. The experience does. 85.14. That is first. The free dance with a 143.02. So they will have a medal for sure. They are on the podium, and that was close by 2 points, but they did it.
Bit of a reaction there from everybody's happy. Maybe surprised.
Our next team represents Canada. Charlie Anderson and Caden Dawson, both are 19 years old. This is their first Junior Grand Prix event.
And like the French team that have just competed, they two together for just over a year.
The second someone mentioned you, I walk alone. I could feel the trouble coursing through your veins. Now I know. Keep our hold. If you look into the distance, there's a house upon the hill, guiding like a lighthouse. It's a place where you'll be safe to feel our grace, cause we've all made mistakes. If you've lost your way, I will leave a light on. into the distance. There's a house upon the hill, guiding like a lighthouse. It's a place where you'll be safe to feel like grace, cause we've all made mistakes. If you've lost your way, well, I will leave the light on. Well, I will leave the light on. Well, I will leave the light
Charlie Anderson and Caden Dawson representing Canada. And Ted, you know, I explained before they started, they've been together such a short space of time. So my assumption is that we'll still see development. And of course, there's still development to be done in the skating skills. But in terms of the storytelling, it was like senior level. And the team had explained that on their tryout, their chemistry was recognized by the illustrious coaching staff. But this has absolutely epitomized what the coaches saw. They were so engaged in their storytelling together, and a very great synonymity in their ability to express. They bounced off each other beautifully.
Well, they captured your attention, and they made you to watch not only the skating, but their own internal emotions together. That's a beautiful shot right off the top of the program. And now the technical panel needs to break it down and take a look at the technical aspect of the dance, but emotionally, it's top notch.
And it's interesting because when we went off air at the start of the program and they had that connection at the beginning, I said, ooh, blooming heck, like they are intense. And then they managed to withstand that kind of, or withhold that kind of intensity throughout. And what I was really mindful of is, as we looked through some of the elements with Charlie, is that I kept thinking there'd be a disengage from the storytelling in preparation for the elements. And you know, that last lift, the straight line lift, I just looked to see how many elements were left, because she maintained the emotional expression, as Caden did too, in and out of the elements. I never felt like there was, you know, oh, I've got to disconnect and just make sure I get my levels down, or I've got to, you know, make sure that I'm in the right place. She just looked to be oozing expression.
No, they're committed.
And actually, it almost went a bit awry here when they came up from this, and you wouldn't know, she's just straight back in. And I saw just the way that she used her left hand there to steady herself, but it didn't show in her face. She was working hard.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Well, I think you're going to see a pretty good score here. I mean, I think there's, you know, I don't know a lot about dance, I know a lot about skating. I think that the skating quality overall throughout that program was really strong. Technical elements, different thing, but the emotional connection from the first note to the last had to capture the attention of the judging panel and be reflected in the program components, which are in the mid-sevens or low sevens. Let's take a look at the scores. 91.14, and you can see the reaction by Charlie. Whoa, with a 149.79. That's a huge score for this relatively new team. As they take the lead with one team to come, of course, the team to come is in the lead by a good 5 points. So I think they're fairly safe, but that's a great start to the journey that this team will ultimately have. Our next team represents Ukraine, Irina Pidgena, Artem Koval.
And they will use music from Moulin Rouge, but Moulin Rouge the musical as opposed to the film, as they assume their start position.
Ladies and gentlemen, bohemians and artists, coquettes and boulevardiers, may I present Miss
Something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly.
Irina Podgina and Artem Koval. What fun. And you said when they were doing their choreo character step, they're bringing it home, and some of the highlight choreography within that character step was amazing. Like that lift over the back, like kind of blew my mind.
And sitting on the
See that
back
again.
and sliding off, that was very cool.
And interesting there, Artem just applauding his partner. I believe Irina had some poor health through the off-season. Maybe that the reason that he's offering extra applause from the audience to his partner. But whatever the case, that was a nice example of chivalry and support of one partner from another. Like to see that.
Let's take a look at some of the elements here, Mark. Take us through it.
So it'll be interesting to see back some of the moments that a fall has gone in the system, but here this was amazing. The straight line lift constantly moving, and the acrobatics there in the straight line lift and in the character step that I mentioned later. Now that's gone in as a fall. I don't know. I don't know if I'd do that because it looked like Artem caught
Right,
Irina's
but
weight
isn't
there,
it?
but
But isn't it, if she would have gone down without him, that's the definition of fall?
Yeah, I need to check up back on the definitive criteria regarding the fall. Kneeling or sliding in the fall is defined as a loss of control by a skater with the result that the majority of his or own body weight is on the ice. It doesn't say anything about the support of the partner, so yeah. Anyways, we look back at the Twizzles, and they'll be looking to see if they can just now grow the program out. They have so many amazingly difficult aspects, and now they'll be able to take this as a reference point. Look at this. And there you go. Like who they've been working with. Galina Churalova, I wonder if she's been showcasing some of this stuff. But some amazing pieces. I think actually it's Nazarova and Nikitin, a former Ukrainian ice dance team that competed seniors. Actually, I do know who they're working with, and they had some great pieces themselves. And yeah, good to see that they're passing that on for Irina and Artem.
Well, they just need an 86.72 to win the event, and they'll do that for sure.
Irina's knees look like they've seen a few knee slides. Gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
For me, though, the best team of this event, the best skaters, the most,
for sure,
refinement together, they are deserved winners, I believe.
Well, 92.06, that is first in the free dance, of course, with a total competition score of 155.14 as they take their first title here on the Junior Grand Prix in this season. And there are the standings. They widen that lead to 6 points. But some good dancing in the last group for sure, and some interesting performances throughout the whole event. And Mark, quickly, if you take a wrap up on this event as we take a look at the final standings.
Well, nice to see kind of sentimental favourites that we've grown to love, Pegena and Cabal, taking the expected title, but exciting for us to see then new teams that I didn't have an awareness of that have really impressed me, and now I'm eager to see how the silver and bronze medalists here will continue their Grand Prix journey.
And your feelings about this week, number 2 on the Junior Grand Prix, as we move on to Varese. You'll be joining me there. What is your feelings on this week?
Just, I think you've continually repeated it wonderfully well about the energy of the Turkish support here, and that has been glorious to see, and it's exciting to see the expansion of the sport in a country that is not renowned for its skating strength. That's exciting, and just also I just love seeing the fruits of all the hard labor. We watch these performances and so much has gone behind it. We are just seeing the end result of families, coaches, choreographers and skaters' life commitment over the past few years of their tender ages, and I'm just incredibly grateful for the opportunity to see it.
Well, we want to thank all the volunteers here in Ankara and the Turkish Skating Federation for their passion towards the development of the sport, not only this event and hosting this event, but the growth of skating in Turkey and the success of their athletes in this event. It's so encouraging. I've met so many parents of young skaters who want to have pictures and whatnot and talk skating. In the lobby, you can just sense the excitement of a new generation coming up here in Turkey, and how brilliant is that. We also want to thank the officials and the volunteers for all the time that they give to it, and of course the ISU staff here and our brilliant production crew as well. We hope that you'll join us next week in Varese for week number 3 on the ISU Junior Grand Prix. Both Mark and I will be there. We're looking forward to some hijinks there. Oh, yes, and some skating as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. For all of us here at the ISU, I'm Ted Barden for Mark Hanreddy and the rest of the crew here. Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.
Thank